I never believed in soulmates. Thought it was just a concept people invented to sell bad poetry and scented candles. But that was before I met Ava. She walked into my life like a cliché in high heels, coffee spilled on her blouse, hair in a messy bun, sarcasm sharp enough to cut steel. We met at the DMV, of all places. Nothing says destiny like waiting 3 hours to renew a license and ending up with the woman who finishes your sentences and insults your music taste with alarming precision. Ava was different. She didn't just laugh at my jokes, she improved them. She didn't just listen, she heard. She made me feel like I was finally playing chess in a world of checkers. We went on a few dates, then a few more, then suddenly she had a drawer in my apartment, and my dog liked her better than me. Naturally, I was terrified. I'd been through enough failed relationships to qualify for a support group. But Ava, she was like breathing for the first time. She had this way of talking about her future that made me want to be in it. We'd lie in bed, bodies tangled, and she'd whisper things like, "I feel like I've known you forever." And I'd smile, like a dumbass, thinking, same. We never talked much about our families. I thought it was mutual trauma. Turns out it was mutual DNA. One night over Chinese takeout, Ava said she wanted me to meet her folks. "They're eccentric," she warned, twirling lo mein around her fork like it was code for possibly cult leaders. I wasn't worried. I've met eccentric. I once dated a girl whose dad wore a cape to dinner and insisted on being called the Duke. I figured I could handle anything. Spoiler, I was wrong. The plan was simple. Drive upstate to a quiet little town called Millbridge, meet the family, charm the pants off them with my boyish smile and above-average guacamole. We'd spend the weekend, then come back and start looking at engagement rings. I even Googled how to ask her father for permission, like some Victorian moron. The house was big, Victorian style, real Addams Family energy. Her mother greeted us at the door with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Her father looked me up and down like he was sizing me for a coffin. Classic dad stuff. Then I saw the photos. At first it was just a feeling. You know that tingle on the back of your neck when something's off, but your brain hasn't caught up yet? Yeah, that. There was a family portrait in the hallway. I did a double take. Because I was in it. Well, not me. But a boy who looked exactly like me at age 8, standing next to a little girl who looked exactly like Ava. Between them, a man and a woman. Same bone structure, same smile, same jawline. "Who are those kids?" I asked. Ava paused. "Oh, that's me. And my brother." I laughed. Because it couldn't be. It shouldn't be. "What's his name?" I asked, stomach tight. "Michael," she said. "My real name. The one I hadn't used since my mother ran off with me when I was 9 and changed it to avoid custody." And just like that, my world did a full-body spasm. I was in love with my sister. So there I was. Standing in the foyer of a house straight out of a haunted Hallmark movie, realizing that the woman I'd been kissing, passionately, frequently, and with questionable creativity, was my biological sister. The room spun. The walls leaned in. I might have blacked out for a second. Not from shock, but from pure, undiluted disgust. I was one romantic dinner away from proposing to a woman I apparently used to share bath toys with. "Michael?" her mom said, walking in with a tray of lemonade like we weren't one breath away from becoming a Netflix documentary. I stared at her, hard. My memories came back in fragments. That voice, that face, that scent, lavender and guilt. "You're..." I couldn't finish the sentence. Ava was already putting it together. Her face drained of color as she whispered, No, that can't be. You said your name was Chris." Chris is what my mom called me after she took me away. Christopher Michael Lane. You remember now? Her mother dropped the tray. Glass shattered across the floor. For once, I wasn't the most dramatic thing in the room. Ava turned to her parents, voice trembling. Is this true? Is Michael, my brother? Her father sat down slowly, like the weight of his past was finally cracking his old man's spine. It was complicated, he mumbled. After the divorce, your mother took him. Changed everything. We didn't know what happened to him. We thought... You thought what? I snapped. That I died? That I'd magically vanish from the face of the earth and never Google my own damn last name? Ava's hands were shaking. She looked like she wanted to crawl out of her skin and disappear into the drywall. Same, honestly. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't blink. Couldn't even sit down, because sitting down would make it real. And I was still clinging to the last shred of denial like a lifeline. I need air, I muttered, bolting out the front door. The crisp air outside didn't help. I paced the porch like a man trying to outrun his own ancestry. I thought about all the moments we shared, every kiss, every joke, every promise. All of it now rewritten as horror. Ava came out a few minutes later, her face wet with tears. She sat beside me but didn't touch me. Thank God. We didn't know, she said softly. I know, I replied. Then silence. Long, painful silence. Broke it first. You remember that time we went hiking and you sprained your ankle? I carried you down 3 miles of rock and mud. She nodded. And the time I got food poisoning in Austin, and you stayed up with me all night watching Friends. Reruns so I wouldn't die alone. She gave a weak smile. Yeah, I said. We were good together. Too good. Neither of us said what we were both thinking. That if we hadn't found out, we would have gotten married, had kids, built a life, lived a lie. After a while, I got in my car and left. No goodbye, no closure. Just a 5-hour drive back to the city, with nothing but the sound of my heart screaming into my skull. Over the next few weeks, I ghosted her. Not out of cruelty, but necessity. You don't just text your sister, "Hope you're well," after months of dating. There's no Hallmark card for that. But while I tried to forget, something festered. It wasn't just the trauma. It was the betrayal. Not by Ava, but by the adults who'd failed us. The parents who let their kids grow up strangers. The people who never looked for me, never warned her, never connected the dots. They got to go on living like it was some tragic accident. Wasn't about to let that happen, because if I had to suffer through every awkward flashback and late-night nausea, then so did they. And that, dear listener, is where the fun begins. Revenge isn't always fire and fury. Sometimes it's colder, slower, the kind that drips like poison through cracks in the floorboards. I let a few weeks go by. Ava tried to reach out once or twice, but I ignored her. Not out of hatred, Ava was as much a victim as I was. This wasn't about her. This was about them, the parents who kept secrets like they were souvenirs, who could have saved us both a lifetime of therapy with one honest conversation. But no, they chose silence. And silence, in my book, comes with interest. I started with the obvious. Her father, my father, was a semi-retired dentist who prided himself on being a pillar of his community, Rotarian of the Year, gave speeches at schools about the importance of flossing and family values. You can imagine how excited the local press was when they received an anonymous package. Inside, copies of emails, photos, and one beautifully written Letter from a concerned citizen detailing how the good doctor had, through negligence and cowardice, allowed his own children to date. Romantically. Publicly. Passionately. The kind of scandal that doesn't just ruin reputations, it pulverizes them. Next, Ava's mother. She ran a boutique yoga studio with a mindful motherhood blog attached. Preached self-awareness and emotional transparency. Naturally, I forwarded her subscribers a little exposé. Anonymous again, of course. Just a little insight into how mindful she'd been while letting her daughter date her missing son for 6 months. Subscriber count dropped by half in 2 days. Studio closed the next week. Poetic justice, not quite. But satisfying? Absolutely. Now, some might say I went too far, that I should have just walked away. Let it go. Healed. But here's the thing. Healing is a luxury you get after justice. And I wasn't about to give these people peace before I had mine. Ava never responded to the fallout. Maybe she moved away. Maybe she changed her name. Maybe she found someone new, preferably someone not from her gene pool. I hoped so. She deserved better. We both did. As for me, I left town, started fresh, got a new job, new apartment, even a dog that doesn't remind me of shared trauma. I tell people I used to be a stand-up comic. It's not true, but it explains the cynicism. Some nights I still wake up in a cold sweat, haunted by the memory of Ava laughing in my arms, whispering that we were meant to be. Turns out we were, just not in the way either of us imagined. I don't believe in soulmates anymore, but I do believe in DNA tests. Every damn time.